So for today's video, we're going to be making a ham. It's totally inspired by the classic Christmas recipes back from the early 1900s, 1800s, you name it. But also, most recently, notice in the Christmas live action film with Jim Carrey in the 2000, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Today, we're going to be making that exact recipe, but instead with a little bit of a twist. So stay tuned. Let me know if you have made this recipe before, if you're going to be making this recipe. What did you think? I cannot wait to try this later on, so let's go ahead, let's make it. Okay, so now the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need your ham. Specifically the ham that I got was like a honey ham. You can get spiral ham if you prefer. I just got honey. You're also going to need one of these trays, or at least the one that fits the size of your ham. Go bigger if your ham is larger and you're feeding more people. I'm feeding about roughly 4 to 5 people. And you are also going to need a metal sheet pan. This is going to allow you to be able to better hold the weight of the ham that's more distributed than trying to rely on this little flimsy piece of aluminum foil. The next thing you're going to want to grab is sliced pineapple. Sliced pineapple, you can either slice it yourself or get in a can. Nobody has time for that, so I got the can. You're also going to need some cherries. You can get this at your local Stop and Shop or anywhere else. A lot of people sell this. Make sure it's the sweet one, not the bitter one. You are also going to need some toothpicks. I'm not going to show you what a toothpick looks like. You know what that looks like. We also have here, we have some ground nutmeg. We're going to be making our own seasoning. So my goal is to cut everything open, season it, by cutting through, put the seasoning inside the grind a little bit, and then glaze it towards the end with the pineapple and the cherries as well. Anyway, you're also going to need some cinnamon sugar. And you can get these for about 60 cents, 80 cents at Aldi's. You're also going to need some parsley, but we couldn't find garlic. So if you have garlic, use parsley. If you don't have garlic, then don't use parsley. We're not going to be using this, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity in case you decide you're going to use garlic. You're also going to need some ground cloves. The reason why I'm using a lot of this recipe is to kind of bring home that very holiday feeling. You're also going to need some grounded ginger. You either get a powder or you can use the real ginger, whatever your preference is. Some pink Himalayan salt. And you're also going to need to grab yourself some extra ground cinnamon. If you don't have a lot left, I don't have a lot, so I'm subsidizing that. And then also a bag of brown sugar if you want to just make homemade cinnamon sugar seasoning. Alright, it's pretty straightforward. I'm thinking about using this as well, but we will see. It's a red label, it's blended Scotch whiskey. We will see if we're going to use it. I don't think we're gonna, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so let's get on. Let's start making the seasoning part of today's video. Think of this bowl as more of like a dry rub container. So we're going to add in some of our cinnamon sugar or whatever's left of it. We're going to make this first. This is going to be our base. This is going to be the dry rub, and then the glaze will go on top of it later on. Okay, so we got some cinnamon. We're going to grab some sugar, just eyeball it. It doesn't matter, remember when you glaze it, it's going to come off, the majority of it's going to come off anyway. Make sure when you're doing this, you have your hands already pre-cleaned when you're doing this. Okay, we're going to get a whole bunch of brown sugar in there. Probably more is better because it is going to provide that nice glaze even inside the crevices. The next thing you're going to want to grab is yourself some ginger. You want to go very light on this because ginger can be a little bit potent. And this is great for both the holidays or just whenever you feel like you're craving the holiday spirit. You're also going to grab some pink Himalayan salt. Don't go too much on this because the ham itself probably already has enough salt already. That looks like a decent amount. We're going to use some nutmeg. And then I'm going to finish off with some ground clove. Now you can also add some black pepper in it as well, just for a little added kick. That is up to you. But I'm doing more of like a holiday style inspired dry rub. Okay, what you want to do is you want to like mix it in thoroughly. And just make sure you get rid of all the clumps. You don't want like a big clump on top of your ham. I have a feeling this might need a little bit more. So we're going to make more. So just double the recipe that I told you before. It smells so good. I cannot wait. It smells like a pine needle, basically. Okay, so we just set aside our seasoning for right now. We are now going to cut this open. So save this. We're going to use it in a little bit. Make sure you get rid of anything that's plastic. You don't want any plastic in it. Now the next step you're going to want to do, because you already see it's already cut, which is nice, we're just going to go slightly like this. The whole intention is to go very light, just so we can get the seasoning in there. Just lightly. You don't need to go crazy. You don't have to go perfect with like the holes and everything. There's already a lot of holes in them, so we're not going to have much of an issue. And now you're going to take your seasoning from earlier. We're going to start seasoning. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take your spoon and you're just going to lightly sprinkle first. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to sprinkle and then we're going to rub it in. And then make sure you don't use a lot when you're doing this, because we want to make sure that we have a lot left over so we get inside the crevices. It's okay if you touch the meat because the seasoning is all going on one meat. It would be different to making multiple meat, then be very careful when cross-contaminating. Okay, now, because the ham is already pre-sliced, we're going to take our seasoning again and just go like this. And just get inside the hole if you can. Just like that. Just get inside. We're just going to put a little bit. Don't go crazy. Okay, so now for this next part, you're going to want to set your oven on bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now what you're also going to want to do as well is we're going to take it out in about 30 minutes when we put it in. And we are going to add on our sliced pineapple, our cherries, and we're also going to glaze our piece of ham. Now here's what I'm thinking, and hypothetically, we're going to take the honey ham packet that came earlier with the ham. We're also going to mix this in when making the glazed stuff. We're going to be using Red Label whiskey to really enhance the flavor of the ham and to really bring out that flavor you would expect on Thanksgiving, during the holidays. A lot of people like to drink. I don't like to drink, but I do love a good, nice meal, and there's no better way to get flavor adding to your dish than adding alcohol. Alright, so we're gonna pop this into the oven, and then we'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. Okay, so now that 30 minutes has passed, we're now gonna start getting ready to glaze our ham. So we're gonna grab this and a little bit of a measuring cup. Make sure it has this lip so it's easier to glaze slice the ham. I'm gonna open up the bag, if we can even open it. And you're just gonna slowly pour it in. Now, this doesn't really call for how much liquid you need, so you're gonna start really small and then build your way up slowly until you get a nice, even consistency. Okay, this is what it looks like. This is what they give us. Now we're going to use some of this. Don't use a lot because it is very expensive. But you're going to take your little glass here. And we're just going to slightly pour it in. About 1 teaspoon. So about this much. That's it. And you're just going to slowly pour in with your spoon as you start to mix. We're just going to keep mixing. And you're just going to keep going until you get the proper consistency. As you can tell, it's very grimy. We're going to need a little bit more. About 2 teaspoons of this, and then we're going to top the rest with just straight up water. Or not. We probably don't need water now. Going to keep mixing until we get an even consistency. It smells pretty good, so we look pretty good in terms of consistency wise. So it looks like it's good enough for a glaze. Okay, so now that we have prepped our glaze for the ham, we're now going to prep the seasoning that we're going to use for the pineapple. We're going to use some ground cinnamon, and we're going to use some brown sugar. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're going to pop it into this, and then we're going to season our slices of pineapple and add it onto the ham. You can kind of like add as much as you want. Like this sounds like a good amount. Don't go crazy, this looks perfectly fine. And you're gonna add in some of your brown sugar. Again, eyeball it. This is gonna create that perfect glaze on top of that pineapple. Now the next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to mix the cinnamon and sugar together. Now make sure you smell it. If it smells more like cinnamon than it smells like sugar, that means you need to add more sugar. It smells more like cinnamon than it smells like sugar, so we're gonna add some more brown sugar. Add a little bit in, don't go crazy, break up all the pieces of the brown sugar until we get an even consistency. Alright, let's smell it again. Alright, so now it smells like brown sugar and cinnamon. This is the perfect amount. You don't need to go crazy. Alright, now the next part is we're going to start taking out the ham. Okay, so now the next part that we're going to do is we're going to take out the ham. I'm going to start to glaze and season it. And then we're going to pop it back into the oven. So as you can see, the natural juices of the ham is inside the container itself. So it looks really good so far. I'm really excited. It smelled amazing. You can definitely see the nice glaze from the brown sugar all throughout the ham. So this is exactly what we're looking for. Now I'm going to get on to our part where we start to incorporate the pineapple, the glaze, and everything else. And we're going to pop this back in for one final time before it's ready to serve. So now the next thing you're going to need some toothpicks, some drained out pineapple, the cherries open, the seasoning that you made for the pineapple, and of course your ham with the glaze. We're going to pour over the glaze first, and then we're going to do the pineapple. It seems pretty straightforward, so you don't really need me to show you how to glaze the ham. Now there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can do the volcano method, or you can ask you to take a spatula and a spoon, which I have now, and you're just going to lightly glaze it around, basically. That's all you have to do. And it's okay if it gets into the juice on the bottom, because it's going to enhance that flavor even more. We're going to try to get this into the crevices as much as we can. And then just use your spoon and just swirl it around as much as you can. It's okay if you don't, because remember we seasoned it earlier. So it's going to have a lot of flavor in this ham. So don't go too crazy, but we should have a lot of flavor in this. All right. Okay, so now that our ham has been glazed, we're gonna now start seasoning our pineapple. You take your fork, we're just going to slightly dab it in our brown sugar cinnamon mixture, flip it over a few times, and then you're going to take your toothpick, you're going to poke it, and you're going to stick it. All you have to do. And just make sure you use more than one toothpick. Now you're not really going to see the pineapple, that's fine, because it's going to be enhanced by that brown sugar cinnamon flavor, which is going to be a lot better than just pineapple by itself. You don't have to do this, optional, but I want to do it. We're going to do the same thing again, just repeat throughout the entirety of the ham, and then we're going to finish off with showing you how to add on the cherries. Okay, so now for the final part of our ham, we now just have to incorporate our cherries. And then we're done decorating it and it can go back into the oven. We're just gonna poke it and maybe like go like bobbing for apples. Yeah, this is not gonna work. And all you have to do is now that you have your cherries, you're just gonna poke a hole right through. That's all you have to do. Okay, so now that the ham is done, has been glazed, and you can kind of see all the cherries and the pineapple, we're now gonna pop it back into our oven about at 350 degrees, and we'll check on it in about 15 minutes. Okay, so when you're taking it out of the oven, make sure you check the temperature. Make sure it's at around 140 or higher inside the internal temperature of the ham in order to ensure that it's safe to eat and it's fully cooked. So I'm going to show you a quick run around of what the ham looks like. And you can obviously put the pineapple and the cherries on earlier if you're looking for more of a roasted pineapple to really bring out more of that juice. By all means, you can do so, but we just left it in for about 20-25 minutes before taking out of the oven. I'm gonna give you a quick run around. So this is what it looks like. And you can see here it's listed on this meat thermometer. It is roughly between 135 to about 140. So this is good and ready to serve. If you want it a little bit hotter, you can keep it in the oven a little bit longer, probably say about another 10 minutes. Anyway, this is what you're looking for. A nice glaze on the outside. I cannot wait to try this. Okay, so we just got done cooking our ham. We're gonna give it a taste test, see if it's any good. Well, so we have our pineapple, our cherry, and some slices of ham. Let's give it a taste test. Is it any good? First thing first, the cherry tastes phenomenal. Let's try a little bit of the pineapple. Now, for those of you guys who don't like ginger, I don't recommend making this recipe with ginger. You can actually take out the ginger altogether. What you can also do, because my mom made a really good point, when you're cooking the ham as well and you have the open slab, instead of pinning the pineapple around the ham, you can actually put it inside the flaps with the seasoning and the cherries as well. So that's always an option as well. And this is going to be a really good combination if you have any applesauce. So you can take a look at the ham. Looks really delicious. Let's take a bite. Wow. It's packed with flavor. Especially that whiskey really outshines itself tremendously. We also got some pineapple slices. Let's try this. Now let's combine the brown sugar cinnamon pineapple with the ham. My also recommendation as well is because you went a little overboard with the cinnamon, lessen the amount of cinnamon when you are making that batch around the ham itself. Other than that, phenomenal. Really good. This is good. Wow. Make this at home if you haven't done so already. Wow. Let me know in the comment section below if you made this recipe. Will you make this recipe? Is there a recipe that you want me to try next? Let me know in the comment section below, and happy holiday. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.